and he said it too, man. This guy's a Steeler. So with that, excited. It gives us a lot of options on the offensive line, and like I said, I can't wait, Coach.
Yes, I'm very excited about Max. Our offensive line coaches are bouncing off the wall. I know it's a little late. You guys look like you're dragging a little bit. Sorry to hold you in there, but I can't tell you enough about. You don't have enough big men up front. He is a great fit for us. Just a stud of a young man. Throughout the process, you heard about him a little bit early, and he just kept growing and growing and growing through the evaluation. So, and as we really winded down this week, he, just frankly just kept climbing up our board. So, we were just real excited that he was there, and I think it's an excellent pick for us, and he'll be a great addition to our offensive line.
Questions?
Mark, is the pick any reflection on Broderick Johnson?
I mean, sure, that's a little bit of a concern. You guys have heard me talk about that, but we have guys that have, you guys always hear me talk about versatility too, Jerry, and we got guys on the offensive line that can play different positions in the offensive line, and as I mentioned, we have options.
Mike, does it raise the possibility of moving? I know it's a little early, but moving Todd on the left tackle?
Well, I think all those things are, discussions that will occur after the draft. We had 2 really good days, Monday and Tuesday, to work with our men. And frankly, we looked at as much position flex throughout the individual drills that we did work with the offensive line. We even had some, they're not team drills, but group activity that we worked a number of the offensive linemen, both left and right. So, I mean, it's part of being a new staff. They're excited about it. We wanted to see what this weekend brings, and we're off to a hell of a start for our offensive line room. So position flex is huge. I think it's bigger than ever in the NFL. 17 games is real, and adding Max to this group is, I can't tell you how excited we are with the pick.
Would that include guard as an option, maybe? I'm sorry? Would that include guard as an option possibly with Max?
With Max, no. We'll start him off at tackle. I mean, once again, we want to work with him, and I know our line coaches had a Zoom with him the other day, and man, I mean, just it's nice to see it come together. And this evaluation, starting with Omar and the personnel staff, and he's made a huge impression on us. I think he's a great fit for us.
So he's right tackle only? Is that where he's going to start?
He hasn't arrived yet. I mean, I just talked about position flex. I mean, he's part of the conversation.
Could Troy Faltanu move the guard too in that conversation? Mike or Omar?
Lots of options there. We got options.
Yeah.
How much do you feel he's tapped into his potential at this point?
Oh, he's just getting started. He hasn't played a lot of football in his life, and he's only going to get better.
This is a challenging position. What have you learned about what it takes to develop a tackle so that he's ready sooner than later to step in and start?
I mean, that's a pretty general question, but I think it's specifically to tonight. I mean, that's why it's important to get Max here, see where he fits. It's not as much as just what he's done at Arizona State. It's really the techniques and how we're going to play and things like that. So when you get everybody here, which we will do in 2 weeks, then we'll have a better idea exactly what he needs to work on.
Mike, you said he moved up throughout the process, Senior Bowl, Combine, that kind of stuff. Is that what specifically made an impression?
So he won through the process. I mean, he really did. He won everywhere he was. The Senior Bowl, the Combine, the interaction we had through our Zooms. It just felt right.
Was it always offensive line, or how the board brought you to the offense?
You trust your board, but the way it shook out. Yeah, it just it brought us to the position, and it was the right pick for us.
Omar, how much did Philadelphia trading up, jumping you guys influence or cause you guys to pivot with that pick?
I think all those things that happen around us, affect the conversations, but just the draft.
Both of you mentioned the impression he made on you. What is it specifically about him and your interactions with him that made you feel he was the fit here?
Well, I mean, I'll just talk from the coach's perspective. You got to remember, Omar and the personnel staff, they've been working on this, for 12 months. We're new staff, you get in place, so we're later to the game, didn't know a whole lot. I didn't know a whole lot about Max 2 months ago, and so as you know, you go through the process with the staff. I mean, he's someone that I know just between myself and the offensive line coaches, we've been talking a lot about him lately.
Mike, how do you see his background in soccer and basketball before he committed to football show up, and his footwork and his game?
Well, I think the biggest thing when you watch linemen play, you want to see him strike and stick, and with that, the balance and the footwork, his ability to stay alive on second and third reaction when he does engage. I think it's all over the video.
Right, you were also talking about flexibility with your offensive lineman. Is that good too? Because the injuries in the NFL kind of spread across the board. Was that good just you could plug people in and out of your offense and keep them going in case of injury?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I think it's value that you definitely look into, especially when you get down to the 53-man roster, because it's one thing for your 9, 10, ever how many linemen you keep each year to play on the 53, but how do they get up on the 48? So position flex is very, very important. The second, third center, the fourth tackle. Those are all important conversations. Those are the conversations you have internally. And so anytime I know from my perspective as a coach in the evaluation process, I hold position flex, the value of it, very high.
Omar, did you all consider moving up, or was it always the plan to stay where you were at 21?
We like I mentioned the other day, we field calls. We all talk, and there were some opportunities to move up. There's some opportunities to move back, and we just didn't want to trade away from this player. It just felt good.
Was there a moment where he really got on your radar?
What's that?
Is there a moment where he really got on your radar? Can you remember like a moment where he really stood out to you?
Yeah, I would say really when we were going through our February draft meetings, that's really when he and the scouts came back. I wasn't at the Senior Bowl. When the scouts came back and we started talking about the guys that were there, and then we got to our February meetings, and that's when he really grabbed our attention there, and he just kept getting better and better for us with him.
Guys, two more.
Omar, since Andy came on in 22, you guys have spent a lot of early draft capital on offensive linemen. How reflective is this of kind of his entire strategy that he had at previous destinations?
You'd have to ask Andy that question, but I think from day one we've said, those big guys are important to us.
Last one here.
Omar, Villanueva is similar in experience and size. Did you see any of that?
You said an Al? Who did you say?
Yeah, Villanueva.
Villanueva.
Similar in that he was inexperienced and tall.
Yeah, from the experience standpoint, maybe a little bit, but Al was 6'9". He was but yeah, this kid's football is ahead of him. He's only gonna get better and better. Like I said, it's the more he plays. He's such a talented football player, and he hasn't played a lot of football, and I'm just excited about what the future holds for him with us.
All right, and we'll get Max on the phone shortly.
Thanks, guys.